I set out with the idea of just using the images of black people in Stoke-on-Trent, and then just having a question on the billboard um that would just get people thinking. Really, like, I mean, it's a huge billboard with just people, just black people on there, which is very uncommon in Stoke-on-Trent. Well, very uncommon in most parts of the UK, to be fair. So even that alone being there, just to sort of create a little bit of self thought. I don't know if that's the right word, but just just get people questioning themselves, just to want to know more about what's going on, and then obviously using typography just to make it simpler. There's a question on there, so you see the images as striking, and then the type of, there's a question over there that you have to that you read, and you kind of maybe hopefully ask yourself that question, um and then you might maybe sort of reflect on that, maybe look into that a bit more. So that was kind of the idea. um from feedback from a lot of people was that it was quite striking. It was kind of in your face, and um got some people thinking. um the weird thing though is so one time my friend came to visit me from Manchester, and I was walking them back to the train station, and from my studio you had to go past the blank space billboard and then go up to the train station. And I walked them there. I showed them the billboard, and then they got on the train. So I was walking back. I walked past the billboard again, and as soon as I walked past it, this man just came out of nowhere, looked at the billboard, looked at me, and just said something and just walked off. I'm not quite sure what he said. It didn't really look very positive, or it didn't really sound very positive. I'm not actually sure the exact words he said, but it was just very surreal, um, that the billboard could have multiple effects. That someone could look at that and um, you know not feel and feel, I don't know, maybe hatred, or I don't know exactly what if he felt, but um it didn't look very positive. It wasn't very happy. It wasn't very um yeah, it just wasn't very positive. So I think for me to sort of experience that firsthand, um sort of open my eyes to how different people take different things. In my head, when I was creating the work, I was kind of thinking, oh, maybe people, one or two people might stop by and just have a think, and then keep on going with their daily activities, or maybe stop by, have a look at it, and then just keep going or explore more if they wanted to. But I didn't really. I suppose when I was creating it, I kind of had um, a naive sort of fairy tale sort of ending, of what I expected the work to be like. But that definitely opened my eyes, and um, sort of like helped me prepare myself for like future projects in case I worked on a project that was on a similar topic, to kind of just expect the unexpected, really expect the positives and also expect the negatives. um I remember when I was installing the work with Peter, we had a quick discussion about what could happen in terms of someone might look at the work and not be happy about it and just vandalize it, um and things like that. So that was also in the back of my head. um but I think I just kind of pushed that in the back of my head. But that experience with that man definitely sort of made the reality of negative effects of my work come to the forefront. Which I suppose is good because you should always expect positives and negatives. As no, like humans aren't the same. Like we're all different, and um we have different ways of thinking as well. But moving on from that, so whilst I was putting together the artwork for the banner, I just thought of creating a short film to kind of just tie it all in together. Um, whilst creating the film, whilst getting into the stories, I felt like I needed to do a lot more than the short film. So maybe something that would have been 5 minutes started extending and extending and extending, um, which was definitely a lesson because um, I wasn't prepared for it, but I just felt like I kept on getting a lot of information. I kept on meeting a lot of people. I had a lot of discussions with so many different people, and the stories I was hearing, it just felt like everyone else should be able to hear these stories. Um, Also, the film just became that piece of art that would live on for people to be able to access as many times as um, they wanted, which was one of my goals. I didn't just want to create something that would go up and then come down, and then maybe never be seen again. Um, so yeah, it was definitely good to create the film as well. Um, looking back at it, there's a lot of lessons learned from creating that. It was a learning curve. Um, I didn't really study film when I was in university. Um, but I would say in the last maybe 2 years, I started sort of picking up my camera and like teaching myself so many different techniques and skills in terms of photography and film as well. And yeah, it was definitely a learning curve, and I can see from parts of the documentary where you know I felt like it was shot really well, and some parts were um it wasn't on par with you know um the better shots. And I think that being there, it's just a really good reminder of that learning curve of you know it shows improvement um in my in my work, which you don't always see. You don't always see a learning curve when you create work, and I think it's really, for me, I feel like it's really special to see a learning curve. It's just like an achievement. Like I've just spent months like revising for a test, and then I've passed it. And so it shows all the hard work, the mistakes, and then it shows the success as well. Um, and yeah, I really enjoyed seeing that um, throughout. Although whilst I was creating work and I was seeing the differences, I wasn't really happy about that. I was very annoyed that I didn't get this perfectly from the beginning. Um, which is another thing. Like I need to learn to just to let go of the imperfections, because the imperfections can sometimes um, add texture and create a different feeling, add some grittiness to your work, and that could change. That could change your work for the better. So I need to definitely let those feelings go. Um, but once I persevere through and I try and look past those type of things, um, yeah, I normally feel it a little bit better um, about it all. Um, what else really to talk about? I think, yeah, one big thing was learning to like just manage money, um, learning to do things the DIY way. I think that is so helpful. Especially like doing something digitally, you know, it's very difficult to do things the DIY way digitally. So, you know, getting hands on, making equipment, you know, from other equipment, breaking things apart, putting things together to make equipment. I think that was really special. Um, and also definitely another learning curve that, gear doesn't always matter. Like I see this a lot in the photography community where they talk about gear doesn't matter. So you don't need to go and buy the £5,000 camera or the £20,000 camera to get a great shot. Um, and I think, yeah, to some extent, it doesn't matter. Um, so I mean, shooting something like this that would normally maybe live on like screens such as like a phone or a laptop or maybe like a home theater, like everything I used was okay. Um, and I think, yeah, this process definitely helped me to not focus on using, you know, the most expensive things, but also it gave me the opportunity to rent some equipment that I wouldn't normally have access to as well and try out. Um, Maybe not even like use in the final cut of the film, but just try it out, and just gain the experience of using something like that, that you not that I um, normally wouldn't use. Um, but yeah, like overall, this has been a great experience. Um, I think like watching people like watch my work was very special because that, you see people see your work, um let's say in an exhibition where they see it and then they maybe read about it and then they walk past and then they go, but like to have people watch your work for a certain amount of time and then have a reaction afterwards and things, I think that was really good. um I think now my thoughts are just to push on, um yeah, to push on, to push forward, try and get this in spaces that normally this wouldn't be seen in, as the film, sorry, that wouldn't be seen in. I think that's my next plan, and maybe try and change a few things um in the film as well. Maybe try and correct a few things that maybe I felt didn't quite work. Um, but apart from that, like, this has been a fantastic experience. Um, to have two mediums of work on show to the general public was amazing. Um, it I was able to mix all of or most of my skills, to create both pieces. I normally do not get a chance to do something like that. Um, I'm someone who was traditionally trained to do graphic design, but I enjoy doing film. I enjoy doing photography as well. I like to mix them all, um, whenever I get the opportunity to do so. But I never usually get that opportunity to be able to do this, um, on a topic that I'm very passionate about. Sorry. Yeah, amazing. I would recommend it 10 out of 10 to anyone who wanted to apply for the next one. Um, but yeah, like, it's been good, and hopefully, I can push on further from this. Um, oh, one last thing, I just felt like, um, before this project, I felt like I was a little bit lost, in terms of like the creative scene in Stoke-on-Trent. But during this project, I felt like I found so many creatives, even though I didn't really use the B Arts building that much, just because of the nature of the work I was creating. I had everything that I needed in my studio, so, um, I didn't really use the building that much. I would have liked to use it that much. but hopefully I'll be popping in there from time to time. But no, 100%. I feel like I found a creative community, um, by doing this project and just meeting different people, and random people telling me, "Oh, I've heard about your work," and I'm like, "Oh, how did you know about it?" And then they tell me, "Oh, I heard from this person, and I do this, I do that," and you just meet so many different people, and they tell you about what they're working on as well. I think was definitely one of the big things that I took out of this. Um, but yeah, hopefully I can push them further. Hopefully I can get this work to so many different spaces and make some impact. But yeah, that's it. Thank you very much.